What's going on? We've got CPI in about 8 hours from the time this video will be released. Big stuff coming up. CPI, obviously a lot of volatility comes from CPI. CPI is the consumer price index, which is basically just inflation, right? So inflation, the numbers are releasing for the month of September. Again, 8 hours away, usually leads to massive moves in the market. If you want evidence of that, all you need to do is look at the 13th of every month or around when CPI comes out every month. Look, 13th of, I don't think it's exactly the 13th every month, but it's roughly around there. The point is, CPI came out in June, it marked the bottom. CPI came out in September last month, this time last month. It marked a time period in which we saw in one day a drop of around 12 to 13%, which is huge for Bitcoin in a bear market. CPI, big moves come from CPI. In fact, if we're going back to June, even at the start of June, CPI marked the actual drop below 28.6K. As we know, 28.6K is, of course, the major support zone that held us up during the entirety of the bull market. If we mark out 28.6K on the map here, on the chart, we'll see that, look, CPI came out, we dropped below it. Every time CPI happens, pretty much something major happens. It's very, very common for CPI to lead to major moves. So with that said, before I even get into any analysis whatsoever, I would highly recommend you guys stay away from trading for the next 24 hours, just to wait for the market to settle down for a bit. I don't think trading into CPI is a smart idea, unless you're very, very, very good at trading. And even then, it's ridiculously volatile and it's unpredictably volatile. Even if numbers come in bearish, you might see a 5% pump and then it drops down and then you get shaken out and liquidated. So I don't trade in CPI personally, and I don't recommend you do. But regardless of that, where will the market go? What is CPI going to be? What's going to happen to the market? Will Bitcoin break down? Will Bitcoin break upwards? We're going to answer all of those questions today, and they're not going to be vague answers. They're going to be answers that I think are very, very, decisive here, because I think we have a lot of evidence to suggest what CPI will be, and I think we have a lot of evidence to suggest where Bitcoin will go. So let's get into it. So I think it's important to keep Bitcoin simple right now, okay? We had a massive chart with heaps of lines on it before, so many lines. In fact, it got pretty confusing, even for myself. We had to do that much analysis on it. And the point is, we need to keep it simple. We need to understand that, hey, look, short-term price movements here don't really matter when we're trying to predict the macro bottom. We're trading in the VIP group. We don't trade on this channel, rarely. I mean, we take swing trades and we take long-term buys. And so we're adjusting our chart to match that now. So the one chart I'm looking at is this. This is literally the only triangle. I'm obviously looking at other things and other time frames, of course, but this is the main triangle we need to be looking at on Bitcoin, right? Triangle stemming from the tops here in May, stemming from the bottom here in June. It comes to an apex over here, right, on the 30th of October, meaning that by the 30th of October, we will be breaking out of this triangle. What are the measured moves for this triangle? Of course, measured moves aren't particularly reliable when it comes to long-term macro structures, because by the time they play out, you have many major resistance and support zones that take the attention. But the measured move to the upside is around 32K, which of course is near that major support zone we were talking about before. And the measured move to the downside is ridiculously bearish at around, hold on one second, at around, if we just move this down, 3K. Okay, I don't think we're going to 3K. I talked about this yesterday. I don't even think that's possible mathematically, to be honest with you. But that's the measured move, right? So the point is, regardless of measured moves, this triangle will determine the fate of Bitcoin. Whether it bottoms out, whether it goes down. I genuinely believe that. I believe this triangle, if it breaks the upside, that will most likely mark the bottom on Bitcoin. Now, for absolute TA confirmation of the bottom being in, we need to take back 28.6K. I've made that very clear in the past. But I will be buying, if we do break this triangle to the upside, I will be buying Bitcoin, okay? And I've got a buying plan. I've gone over the buying plan many times in the past. You guys are probably aware of it by now. Where is it actually? Let me bring it up 1 second. Here it is. So the buying plan is essentially this. Okay, you can pause the video and check it out here. I know it's a bit of a mess here with so many lines and writing everywhere. That's my buying plan. It's 3 separate scenarios. I'm covering all bases. Which one do I think is most likely? I think most likely is the middle one here, but I don't really care which one happens, to be honest, because they're all giving us good average prices on Bitcoin and they cover all bases, as I said. So look, this is great. This is great stuff, right? Because right now, everyone's getting bored in the market. Oh, it's going sideways for so long, whatever. The point is, we're going to be seeing a breakout this month in October that will critically change the macro structure. What do I think about Bitcoin? I've thought about it for so long now. This is from November 2021. I've been thinking about this. Okay, I've been standing by this prediction since the November top in 2021. Okay, we will be seeing, in my opinion, a Q4 bottom on Bitcoin. Bitcoin will bottom out in Q4, which means October, November, December, Bitcoin will be bottomed out, right? I think it's coming up very shortly. I think, honestly, the Q4 bottom will happen within the month of November, right? I think that, October, November, that's when the bottom will be. We can go December as per prediction, but generally speaking, I think within the next 2 months here, we will be seeing the bottom on Bitcoin, okay? And there's many reasons for that, but I've gone over it in the past, but ultimately, I want to get into CPI and how that's going to affect the market today. I want to briefly interrupt this video to talk about the BitGet exchange. Now, the BitGet exchange has 5 times lower fees than Binance, which is commonly referred to as the cheapest exchange in the cryptocurrency market. It's also non-KYC or voluntarily KYC, so you can stay true to the fundamental values of cryptocurrency, one of which being anonymity, of course. It's also got a security fund in there, so if you lose your funds by fault of the exchange or by personal fault, you can make a claim and actually retrieve your funds back. On top of all of this, if you sign up using my referral link, you can get access to exclusive discounts and rewards. This is the best exchange on the cryptocurrency market, and I use it personally, and so should everyone at the Wolves of Crypto YouTube channel. Now, if you're interested in actually learning how to trade for yourself, you can check out the Crypto Academy via the website link in the description below. This is a course developed by myself and Megaworld Crypto, a 10-unit course taking you through every single step from step 1 to step infinite about how to become a trader. Go ahead and check that out and chuck us an email at cryptoacademycourses@gmail.com, and we'll get back to you with the full information and payment information if you're interested. Thanks guys for watching the advertisements. Let's get back into the video. So CPI in 8 hours. Now what's worth noting is that PPI, which is the producer price index, okay, actually came out yesterday. And PPI is a very good predictor of where CPI will go. PPI actually rose in the month of September, right? The market is expecting, very important, the market is expecting inflation, CPI, to decrease by 0.2% in the forecast coming in 8 hours. However, PPI has shown us that actually might not be the case. PPI has risen, okay? You can just check right here. Look, the last 3 months, CPI has gone down. The last 3 months before the release last night, PPI went down, right? Before that, CPI went up, PPI went up. PPI is a great predictor of CPI. PPI has risen, meaning there is a high probability, in my opinion, maybe not that CPI will rise, but there's a high probability that CPI will come in higher than the market's expectation of 8.1%, which of course will create strain on Bitcoin and the traditional markets and drag them down. I'm expecting Bitcoin to go down, right? I'm expecting Bitcoin to go down. Now, I've said before in the past, I don't necessarily know, right? I just simply don't know whether we'll break 17.6K or not. But I think we will retest it. I think we will, at the very least, we will retest 17.6K, right? I think Bitcoin's going to go down on CPI. This is a short-term 1-hour chart within the daily structure here. This is the pink line. That's when CPI releases. I think this structure will break to the downside. I think at a very minimum, we will be retesting the bottom of this triangle within the next few days. That will be my prediction. And I think that retest will take us to an absolute highest point of 18.3K, and we could go very well below that. We're seeing a bullish divergence on the charts here. The charting pattern itself is bullish. However, I don't think that will hold up. Just based on what PPI has said. Okay, PPI, this is purely based on PPI, Producer Price Index. It has come in higher, therefore I would expect inflation to come in higher than expected. I think that's a very logical assumption to make, and I think the only natural extrapolation of that data is to expect Bitcoin to go down. Okay, even with that said, don't trade CPI, because whether it comes in lower or higher or not, there's going to be wicks up and down. It's going to shake everyone out. So regardless of what's going on, you shouldn't be trading regardless. But I think it's more likely than not here that CPI is higher than expected, and Bitcoin actually goes down upon the release. Unless something out of the ordinary happens, that's what the data is suggesting at this point in time. So I would expect Bitcoin to break down here, okay? That's very important. And this is in line with my Q4 bottom prediction, okay? This is also in line with the data. The data suggests we go down. When we see a double bottom formation, we generally retest the bottom. We've seen kind of like a half double bottom formation here. Even if it is a double bottom, and this is very bullish, even if it's bullish, we will retest the bottom at 17.6K, or at least near it, and might even wick below it. Now, we have the 300-week SMA, this blue line, supporting us at 17.6, which is one of the reasons why I think there is a chance that it holds. If you don't know, the blue line here, the 300-week SMA, that was kind of the support line that caught us during the COVID drop. So it's very strong, right? It's tried and true. It's tried and tested here. We've had this hold of support before in periods of high volatility. There's no reason to discount it entirely. That's one of the reasons why I think 17.6k won't just drop through like nothing. And I think 17.6k does really have the chance of being the bottom. There's other reasons for that, and one of the other reasons is the fact that generally speaking, if we look at the structure of overall bull markets in general, bear markets, sorry, we generally see that rounding bottom, right? And we've already started to begin that rounding bottom formation. This is a typical bear market bottom period, right? We also saw price cycle top indicator and bottom indicator flash the bottom. All of the conventional metrics we use for Bitcoin have flashed the bottom at 17.6k and suggest we see one more retest of it before going up. So that's why I'm remaining open. I'm not as bearish as some people here on YouTube. Some people on YouTube are calling for sub 10k. Okay, I'm not calling for that. I'm calling for either a 17.6k double bottom on Bitcoin or a drop to 13.8k to 11.5k, 13.8k holding on the weekly candle. Those are my two potential price targets. I don't know which one will play out exactly. What I can say is that it would be great if we went to 13.8k. And there is a reason for that, okay? There is a reason for that. If we look at 13.8k, I just outlined it there, it's that red line, okay? What do we typically do during bull markets? We typically, okay, it's not a trend yet, because it's only happened 2 times, very important to note, but it could be a trend. We typically in bull markets drop 80%. 80% in 2015, 80% in 2018, or 2019, sorry, right? 80% there, look, 80%. If we go down to 13.8k, that will be an 80% drop. Therefore, that 80% trend will be a trend. That 80%, coincidence will be a trend. Now, the reason why I want this to happen, right? I'm not saying it's going to happen. I'm saying I want this to happen. The reason why I want it to happen is because the more predictability that stems from the market, the better, right? When you see predictability, you see goodness, okay? Very good. That's why we like the 4-year cycle theory. The 4-year cycle theory offers us a level of predictability, a level of tested and valid predictability that we can't see in any other trend on Bitcoin. Therefore, if we bottom out in Q4 at 13.8k on the weekly candle, not only did the 4-year cycle hold true, but also the 80% drop holded true. Therefore, both of those trends get stronger, and in the next bear market, we have ultimate predictability for what's going to happen. We can be very certain about what's going to happen in the next bear market. So I hope we go down to 13.8k. I don't know if it's going to happen. I think at the very minimum, and I'm very certain of this, at the very minimum, we will be retesting the low from June, or at least very close to it, and might even wick below it. That's my predictions for Bitcoin. You guys are well aware of that by now, but ultimately, I just wanted to say in this video, CPI is not going to be good. I don't think CPI is going to be good. From the data we've kind of harvested here, and this is objectively true. It's not even an opinion. It's just generally true, okay? When PPI comes in higher, there's a very high probability that CPI will come in higher. That's just true, okay? So there's no debating that. So even in my prediction here, it's not really my prediction. It's just what the market says, what the objective data says here. The objective data says the markets will be getting hit tonight. They will not be looking good when CPI comes out. They will get hit. And generally speaking, the markets are saying, hey, look, it's going to come in higher than expected. People aren't going to be happy, and assets going to go down. That's what it says. So let's see if it plays out like that. And even if it doesn't, guess what? We've got a buying plan that covers all bases. Okay? The buying plan, we buy at the dotted yellow line if it breaks out. Great. It's great, right? We win regardless. This is what I like about this long-term analysis. This is what I like about being on point since November. We win regardless. There's no scenario here in which we lose. But yes, ultimately, CPI will come in higher in my opinion. I think we'll go down the markets. I think we'll retest the double bottom at the very least. And it's kind of supported by the additional charts we can look at here. Total cryptocurrency market cap rejected from resistance in that pink box. That will be trading downwards most likely. Even if we look at the S&P 500, we look at the macro. S&P 500 has kind of lost its local low from June. And it's retesting its more local low from just about a week ago. So it'll be interesting to see whether CPI brings it down. If we do drop down on the S&P, we will be trending downwards towards 3,400, which is the nearest support, which is actually where we topped out before the COVID drop. So yeah, not expecting good things in the market tonight. Regardless of my predictions, you guys shouldn't be trading, in my opinion. That's my opinion. And we'll see what happens, and we'll debrief tomorrow and see what the results actually were. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video. Take a look at these charts, right? You need to get this shorter term triangle, and you need to get the longer term triangle. Those are the important things right now. Thanks for watching. Cheers.